Our first guest says that Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein will likely have to appear before Congress to explain his actions regarding the FISA warrants for members of the Trump campaign. Joining me now is Congressman Ron DeSantis, a member of several key committees, including Foreign Affairs, Judiciary, and Oversight. Congressman, before we get to the issue of Rosenstein, let's first talk about today's revelations. The fact that Clinton cronies were actually feeding information to Mr. Steele. Mr. Steele, of course, then put that information into the Trump dossier, and that was then fed to the FBI and led to the FISA warrant. It just keeps getting dirtier and dirtier.
It really does. I mean, you remember what the Nunes memo showed is what Bruce Orr was doing with his wife. Now, we knew Orr had met with Christopher Steele during the campaign. We knew Orr's wife, Nellie, worked for Fusion GPS. But what that showed is that there was a steady pipeline of information going from Steele and the people that he was getting information from to Nellie Orr directly to the Justice Department via Bruce Orr. And I think the revelations about the State Department are very similar. It's a pipeline between the Clinton campaign, members of the Obama administration, and the law enforcement agencies.
Now,
that's a huge problem.
It is.
That is not the way the government is supposed to operate. And to dig up dirt and launder it through the government bureaus, give me a break.
Well, particularly when that dirt was being created by a political campaign that was embroiled right in the middle of an election, just a couple of months before the election. Let me just ask about the State Department, because, of course, what first went through my mind is Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State. She must have had all these contacts there. Do you think she played a role in getting some of this dirt into the Trump dossier?
I think that's something we need to find out, but I would say she probably didn't need to do very much. I mean, what we've learned throughout this process is there are folks in some pretty high positions of power who are ostensibly nonpartisan but had some really strong views that Donald Trump shouldn't be president, and they were going to do things to do that, like Peter Strzok.
Right.
So I would be willing to bet that there were probably folks in that agency who were predisposed to want to play this game and do what they can to hurt Donald Trump, and that's a problem. You can have your own views, David. That's not a big deal. But if that colors your official actions, that's the problem.
Using the full power of the FBI and the Justice Department to tilt the scales is not acceptable. All right, two senators, Grassley and Graham, have this criminal referral to the Justice Department because of what Mr. Steele did. Apparently, he lied to investigators when they asked him questions about whether he talked to the press. What happens with this criminal referral?
Well, I think the Attorney General needs to take it very seriously and potentially act on it. Now, there's a little bit of a disagreement about whether by doing that they actually think Steele was lying, or they're doing that to pry open maybe more information about what the FBI actually knew. In other words, yes, Steele may have been meeting with the press, but it doesn't mean that somehow the FBI didn't know all the information anyway. So whatever his representations were, maybe they were misleading, but maybe the FBI knew more than they let on. And that's important, David, because the representations they made in that FISA warrant, if they knew more than they let on, but then didn't disclose it to the court, that is a big deal.
Finally, Rod Rosenstein, the Assistant Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, he clearly played some role with regard to these FISA warrants, signed at least one of them. It's unknown exactly what he knew about the Trump dossier, whether he knew that it was completely paid for or at least overwhelmingly paid for by the Hillary campaign. What happens now with Mr. Rosenstein?
I think he does need to come in and answer questions about what he knew.
Behind closed doors, forgive me, or in open testimony?
I would prefer open, but if it's going to be in a classified setting, they have to do it behind closed doors. But I think he needs to say what he knew at the time, and then how was the FISA that he extended different than the original FISA? In other words, was there additional information that was put there? If he's just rehashing based off a Yahoo News article and the Steele dossier and then Papadopoulos, who's unrelated, well, man, that's really thin. And I think he'd have to answer some really hard questions about why he saw fit to sign that.